I'm going to go straight into it. Johnny, congratulations on your recent win. 6-0, 5 knockouts. When are you fighting next?
Thank you very much. It was a good display in Sheffield. Had a great time up there. Great support. Everything went to plan, and looking forward to getting going again, as you said. Hopefully, very soon. I'm ready to start training again. Hopefully, looking at September, October time. So not too long. In October, that'll be good.
I'm going to bounce around a little bit here in terms of the timeline. So not a lot of people know. Some do, some don't. You studied at X-University. You were actually on track for getting a first, and then don't get me wrong, you got a 2-1, which is as good as it gets, really, apart from the first. But you decided to have a spar with Joe Joyce. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I was sparring Joe Joyce quite a lot when I was at university as a student, going backwards and forwards. And Sam Jones at the time offered me the opportunity to go to Vegas. And it was right in the middle of when my dissertation was due, when my final year exams were going on. And I was on track for that first, but I spoke to my family, spoke to the people around me, and they said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You've got to take it. And as you said, 2-1 still gives me access to all of my career options moving forward. So I think the risk of going out there has definitely paid off, because I'm where I am now, and I've got great people around me, and I'm enjoying every second of it. So it's brilliant.
Fantastic, Mark. You've been training Johnny since the beginning. I know that you get approached by a lot of boxers at all levels. What is it about Johnny that made you think I can work with this guy?
His work ethic, and his ability to adapt, and yeah, I feel that we
just clicked, didn't we?
We clicked, yeah. So once you got them sort of ingredients, you can develop, so to speak.
So Johnny, not a lot of people know about your amateur career. Give us an insight in what happened there.
So I had 6 junior fights before I was 14, 15 years old. So when I've always boxed, always been in the boxing gyms as an amateur, keeping fit after school, stuff like that. And then I went to sixth form, and the first game of rugby I played, I broke my hand. So I didn't box for a good 2, 3, 4 year period. Then I had 4 amateur fights in my second year of university. So my only experience has been then 10 amateur fights, and I've got a lot of experience and got my name out there by sparring the likes of Dave Allen, Joe Joyce. And then when I turned pro, I've been sort of carried on in the same way, sparring some good level opposition, Fabio Wardley, Hughie Fury, Daniel Dubois. So recently Derek Chisora as well. So a lot of my learning has been done on the job, and it can be done that way. But we've just got to be mindful. We've got to be on top of the ball in terms of the sense that we have got a long way to go. We don't have that pedigree, but there are ways around it, and we're proving that it can be done. And we've got we're not under no illusion. We've got a long way to go, but we've got the ingredients there to get to the top of the sport.
So talking of ingredients,
there are ways around it.
There's always ways around it.
With know-how.
Yeah, that's what I need Mark Tibbs. He's got the know-how.
Listen, talking to Joe Joyce, Johnny's got the opportunities. He's actually going out. Can I say?
Yeah.
He's going out to Vegas very soon, I believe, this week, to get some more experience with Joe Joyce. So, yeah, and I'll never forget that time. Funny enough, Sam Jones rang me up, and rang me up around Christmas time, and I asked me would I have a look at Johnny. But I already had my eyes on Johnny because I tried to get him in. I've mentioned this before for sparring. So I thought, I said I made out a sound. I didn't really know who he was, but I did.
Yeah, I remember. Because I've seen you when we was around Edge Gym and stuff like that, and we were trying to get you up for Dillian's work. It just never really worked because of university and stuff. And it's funny how things work out.
It really is. It really is. Anyway, sorry, Paul. I lost your...
No, you've done well. I was just wondering, you spar with Derek Chisora. Was it Kung Po prawns after all 5 guys?
What did we have? No, all I remember after that spar is Derek would pour a huge 2 gallons of water over his head, chilling out, ice. And he's just a warrior. To be around Derek Chisora, someone with that level of experience, the way he acts outside the ring when he's warming up, just picking up off people. That's what I do a lot when I'm in these gyms. When I go and spar Joyce in Vegas and spar Daniel Dubois and the Wardleys, I pick up little things from other people and how they and their little routines. And I think that's a good way to learn. And there's not many people who's been around the block as much as Derek Chisora, so it's great to learn off him as well.
Who nicknamed you the Romford Bull?
I remember in Vegas, the first time I went out there, one of the American trainers, I was sparring a really good American heavyweight Jeremiah Milton, who's coming up now. He was came second in the US heavyweight amateur championships. And someone just said, "You fight like a bull, man. You fight like a bull." And it just stuck from that, because I was aggressive. When I first started, Mark will tell you this as well, I just relied on having brute strength. And it's important to have brute strength, but we've got to cuten it up. And that's one thing we've been trying to do from the beginning, refine everything. And we always say we've got that Romford Bull inside us, but it's about using it at the right times. It's about not relying on it too much. And then when it's time to go, that's when you can use it. Or when you need to use it as a last resort sometimes as well.
I called him once Big Fish. And he looked at me like that. And he went, "Everyone used to call me Big Fish at school." Because I was busy in the gym. I went, "Big Fish, Big Fish." But listen, the Romford Bull works because of his style. But now and again, I call him Big Fish because he's big and he's Fisher.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the listeners, again, give a little insight that might not know before. I mean, you're a big lad. What are you, like 6'6"?
I'm about 6'5", 6'4.5", 6'5".
Right. So
everyone's big in heavyweight style. Stand next to Joe Joyce, he's massive. Everyone's massive, but you can't just rely on being big. That's one of the things we spoke about, because every heavyweight's got a level of strength, very strong. But it's about using your brain to use that strength in the correct way, in the grapples, in the holding, when you're using your weight. So it's all little things we've got to learn.
I've seen a lot of little men, small men, take care of big men. You know, in gyms and in boxing rings over the years, I've been involved in boxing. So, you know, like Johnny's using and learning his craft, learning how to, he can use his size if he has to, but, you know, his job, he's a boxer, he's a fighter. So he's learning to break opposition down with taking less punishment yourself in the process. But when push comes to shove, if he has to revert to the ball, he will do, and he'll be a cuter ball in 2 or 3 years from where we are right now. Yeah. And he won't never want to be the rugby tackling ball, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So if you get what I'm saying.
But we spoke a lot about it, like in terms of when we're talking about heavyweights, there's a lot of big guys out there, there's small guys, but we do a lot of training, like body weight training. And if you're the master of your own body weight, as a big man, you're going to be able to hold your strength and hold your own with anyone. So one thing I'm good at is being athletic, being fast on my feet, having control of my own body weight. And I think that's a very good thing if you're a heavyweight, because that means you're economical with what you do as well.
Yeah, love it. That's, you know, the real sports science there. And not a lot of people think that, as you said, you know, they think I'm big, I'm strong. That's it. You know, if the strongest person on the planet made them the best boxer, then Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been champion a long time ago, you know. So you've got Mark as a trainer. Who manages and promotes you?
SJAM Boxing managed me, Adam Morley, and been great. They've been with me from the beginning. And Matchroom's my promoters, and Eddie Hearn. And it was because of SJAM that I got that good deal with Matchroom. And obviously I've had to perform. I sell a lot of tickets. I've got the knockouts so far, and it's progressing very nicely. But with the team I've got around with Mark and Jimmy as well, we've got a really, really good thing going here, right on my doorstep with where I live as well. And it's just working very well. We understand the mission and what we've got to do, how long it's going to take, and everything's rolling nicely. And we've just got to keep progressing in that way.
Let's see if we can get Mark to blush a little bit now. What makes Mark Tibbs such a great trainer?
For me, or do you want Mark Tibbs? I thought he was asking
No,
Mark.
no, I wouldn't ask Mark that. I'm asking you, Johnny.
When Mark's around the boxing ring, it's like he just a switch just goes off, and he's just so in tune. He understands people very well as well, like body language and how people act. And when he's around the boxing ring in the boxing gym, there's no one better in my opinion. He just gels and he understands the mission at hand. And when he's in that corner, everything's clear, all the instructions are clear, and he understands he doesn't train everyone the same. He trains you based on your attributes, and he works out the best version of you rather than trying to mold you to what he wants. He finds out what you're good at, and then he makes that even better. And it's been brilliant.
Thank you. He's coaching me now, so I think I did that.
You do.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, Johnny. I'll give you a little story to tell about Mark here. From my past from a while back. Tell you about how good a people's person he is here, and it's a good little story for everyone to hear because not many people know this one. So back in around 2009, I was working at the Down Syndrome Association, and I got a phone call from this lady called Carol Mardell. Her husband had passed away a little bit before, and she calls up and said, "Listen, Danny, my son, who has Down syndrome, he's desperate to get in the boxing, do some boxing moves because his late dad used to do it. And she said, would you know a boxing trainer somewhere in Essex or East London who might be willing to just, take him through a little session, just, give him a little something? And I went, I'll tell you what, Carol, I said, I'll make a phone call. So I called up Mark. I said, do you train children? And he went, no. I said, you ever trained anyone with learning disabilities? Like, no. And I went, well, I may as well go for bust here. I said, would you train a child with learning disabilities? And I explained the situation. He went, bring him in. So went down to Peacock. And not only did he go down to Peacock, Jimmy was there as well. And he brought along Billy Joe Saunders in the training session. This was Danny Mardell's first ever proper training session. That is the person Mark Tibbs is. And he never bangs the drum about that sort of stuff. And he does loads of that sort of thing. I can give you loads of those sort of examples. So,
Lovely. It was a lovely day, yeah.
It was a great day. I've still got the photos. So we're talking about the Tibbs family here as well now. What makes the legend Jimmy Tibbs so good to be around your camp?
Jimmy, just his name, Jimmy Tibbs. You walk around the streets of where we are in Essex and East London, everyone knows who Jimmy Tibbs is. He's a great man. He's a gentleman first and foremost, always polite, and got time for everyone in the gym. And his resume as a boxing trainer speaks for itself. A good professional as well. And he's mild-mannered, he's quiet, but when he does speak, you listen because he's got that level of knowledge that a lot of people envy. And he's great. He doesn't try and overbear or get too involved. He knows Mark's the boss, but he's always got valuable input, and it's great having him up the gym. Michael Watson comes up the gym a lot as well, and we have his advice, and it's just brilliant to have people who've been in the sport for decades to give me a little bit of advice. I feel very, very privileged and honoured to be in that position because I've only been a professional boxer for a couple of years, and it's great that these people are around for me to pick their brains and have around and support me as well.
It's lovely. I mean, the appreciation from you both, I think, for the sport, but for each other is also great. Mark, what makes Johnny a good fighter in terms of what are his best assets as a boxer?
Well, he's got immense strength. He really has got immense strength. What I mean, he has to subtle it up a little bit. Like he only has to, if he was to have to shake a man to death, he would shake a man to death, literally. But he doesn't realise he can get in with one hand and give a little shake and a ping, a little ping. That's how strong he is. But he literally used to want to shake a man to death. Yeah. And listen, I hate addressing it like that, but it's true. He's just got to settle everything up because he's got a great brain, from his university days. That he's an achiever, and he's a great listener. And when you're an achiever with strength and a good listener, and he adapts, like I say, he adapts, then you got half a chance to make it in the sport for sure.
I've always had that, not just in boxing, but I've always been quite heavy-handed in how I act, how I've been as a kid, and it's about settling that up in general, not just in boxing, but in life. You don't, as you said, I always try hard at school. I try and do everything all or nothing. But what I'm learning with boxing is sometimes it's better just to be a little bit more subtle, draw people in. And I think we turned a little bit of a corner in that last fight because we drew him, and then it wasn't even I just turned the shoulder through a little bit. I wasn't trying to muscle it, and it was a good clean shot, and we could build on that now the next fights.
Basically, you picked up, you addressed a good point there. So he doesn't have to force everything, because this man's giving us some energy we can turn against him. So we balance it out, and in order to get a nice finishing ending or a polished performance, you got to use their strength or energies against themselves, if you know what I mean. So he done it. It couldn't have been it was 100% thumbs up performance, his last performance for sure. And it was like, it's always like in fight week, he's fine tuning mentally as well as physically. And
we had a good session, didn't we?
We did. And we had 2 good sessions that last week. And what was good about it was his listening, and he obviously listened because he put it into practice on fight night in Sheffield. Yeah,
beautiful. Now the gym is currently loaded with a stack of talent. You've got obviously Johnny Fisher, you've got Johnny Hedges, Ebony Bridges, Tommy Fletcher. Johnny, what's the atmosphere like training around these guys at the Origin gym at the moment?
It's really good. It's good to have people up and coming, people on the journey where they're trying to get their own names out there as well. Ebony Bridges, obviously very experienced at the top of her game, and it's just a good atmosphere in the gym at the minute. And it's good to be around people who are ambitious as well.
What it is, Paul, as well. When we're kind of all waiting for dates, they're kind of all in together. So it's nice when they're all in together. But what the people don't realise, Johnny mentioned it earlier on, like we're all very different, and it's very important to me to work them individually as well to get the best out of them. Because if you work them all together like soldiers on a training regime, they're all going to level out, be mediocre, so to speak. So, but I'm glad you picked up on that. But there is a good buzz. They're all very supportive of each other when their fights are on. But when they've got their dates, I break them down and split them up. That's the way you get the best out of these people, and that's it.
And I've found that myself as well. Yeah. The best way that it works for me is just through experience from the last few fights. When I get into my own fight mode, you go tunnel vision a little bit, and it does have to be a bit like that because it is boxing. It's an individual sport. Well, I played rugby before, football. You're together all the time. And it's great. It's important to have a gym camaraderie, but when it comes to fight night, I do tend to zone in and focus on myself.
And the fighters are all the same. He feels he wants his own time, and each and every one of them are the same. And this is the way it is, and that's the way I think it'll always be.
Yeah.
But you know, there's time to team train, and there's time to split them up.
Yeah.
So last few little questions here. Just have a bit of fun here. Who's the biggest joker in the gym?
Sonny.
Our
strength and conditioning trainer, Sonny Cannon. He's got a lot of wisdom and a lot of wit, and some of the things he comes out with are quite funny. Aren't they?
Now, after watching this, he's going to be a lot more funny.
Yeah. It just comes out like you'll be in your changing room or your fight week, and he'll just say something, a bit of knowledge or a bit of saying, and it makes you chuckle.
He's very witty, Sonny Cannon. He's very witty and
very knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable on everything. Yeah. He ain't a know-it-all, but he's knowledgeable on everything. And when he says something, we all listen. For sure, yeah.
Who's the biggest teacher's pet?
We can't answer that.
Probably me. I like to impress them.
No, I've got to say, listen.
Everyone wants to impress
each and every one of the handful of fighters I've got here right now that are promoted by big promoters, they all want and need that individual treatment when the time's right. But they've all started to learn and respect that, you know, there's a time for being around each other. You know what I mean? But and they all respect each and other's quality time with myself and my dad or Sonny.
Yeah.
So that's the way it is, and that's the way it is. And you know, and they realise, if they don't realise now, they realise when they go through certain levels of the process that it's important to have, you know, having like me and each other's time one-on-one, like
So the final question, and I want you both to answer it. If you could spar 3 rounds with any past boxing legend, who would it be?
It's hard. It's to be a heavyweight. The first man that came to my mind, and it's probably the wrong decision because he'd probably bludgeon me to death, was George Foreman. I think unbelievable thing to do. But George Foreman, if not, second pick would be Mike Tyson.
Okay, nice and easy ones then. Mark?
Well, when I grew up, the first boxer ever to got me looking at boxing and fixed at boxing was Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay then. So listen, I wouldn't like to spar with him. I like to watch him and learn from him.
Your dad sparred him, didn't he?
Yeah, my dad sparred him. Yeah, my dad sparred on a like a promoter. What was it? Bit of a promo
exhibition.
Yeah. But getting back to, a lot of people ask me, Mark, like I was with Alexander Usyk a few years back in Saudi Arabia because the big fights on. I went through my pictures and found a lovely picture of me and Usyk. We never had much to say, but it was lovely to chat with him a little bit and feel what he's all about. What a great boxer he was. But someone said to me yesterday, Mark, is he the best boxer you've ever seen or been around? But listen, you look at all the styles that are out there. For instance, in the 80s, Duran, Hagler, Leonard, Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, all of them. listen, no one's better than it. They're all different styles, and you can only admire all them styles. I can't put my finger on who's my favourite because you have to admire all them, and they're all different. Roberto Duran, Julio Cesar Chavez. I love watching him. Senior, love watching him, and what a great career he has. And at his age now, 55 years old or whatever, he's maybe 60. The way he hits that bag now, you know, he's brilliant.
You mentioned about Usyk there, so I've got to ask you both a question. Who wins this weekend, AJ or Usyk?
Talking about this, we both you sort of said it's going to be a knockout because we all agree AJ's got to take it to him. Everyone said it's got to take it to him, but it makes it more open for a knockout to be there, doesn't it?
I believe there will be a knockout in this fight, and I hope it's AJ. And I can't pick a winner. You know, it's interesting how this new trainer, what's his name?
Robert Garcia.
Robert Garcia. What kind of impact he's had on his if he's triggered the stuff, because he's got all the artillery. It's whether he's triggered what he's got to do. So yeah, so AJ does it.
That's on cue, guys. So thank you so much for the interview. Really appreciate it. It'll be out very soon. Johnny, all the very best with the future. Mark, I'll see you soon, mate. Thank you very much. Take care.